Mario Diaz-Balart was first elected to Congress in 2002, but he has not had a competitive challenger since 2008. That changes this year as Democrat Mary Barzee Flores, who was running for the seat being vacated by Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, decided to switch races at the last minute and run against Diaz-Balart. Barzee Flores joins me now. Mary, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me again.
So let's talk about the rationale that you had for moving from the race in the Democratic primary against Donna Shalala and others to run for that seat and Ileana's seat to now running against Mario Diaz-Balart.
Well, so the reasons that I'm running for Congress are the same today as they were when I first started this campaign. And I think it's the same reasons folks all over the country, maybe especially Democrats, are for the first time running for office. It's a disgust with the president and his presidency, and it's being fed up with presently elected Republicans in Congress who are only acting as enablers to advance the president's disastrous agenda. And those are the same reasons I'm running now. As we got closer to the qualifying deadline for Congress, I saw that there was a good possibility that Mario Diaz-Balart was just going to glide in again for another 2-year term. And I decided that it was my responsibility, really, to step up, challenge him, and flip this seat blue, and that's what I'm going to do. All
right, but let's be candid. Let's speak candor. You know, your chances of winning the Democratic primary in the race to replace Ileana shrank dramatically when Donna Shalala got into the race with all of her money, her name ID, and the rest of it. That was a crowded field. You now go to becoming the presumptive nominee right to November in this race. You may not have survived the primary in the other race. Is that a fair statement?
It's a fair statement that I might not have survived, and that's for sure, in a crowded primary. Donna Shalala was going to be tough competition, but
David Richardson, others,
Richardson,
right. Matt Hagman, there's a number of people in there.
Right. I mean, that was going to be a fight, no doubt. But I expect this will be a fight too, and I'm looking forward to the battle.
Okay, so let's address the next issue. You don't live in that district.
Last I checked, Mario doesn't either.
He doesn't live in his district.
No.
All right. If you win, would you move into the district?
No, Curbelo doesn't live in his district either. I mean,
is that a problem? Do you think that there's something wrong with that the representatives don't live in the districts they represent?
You know, Jim, South Florida, I'm not going to say it's monolithic, right? But I've lived in this community, the South Florida community, my entire life, but for 4 months as a teenager when I was in Israel. And I know the folks in South Florida. When I was a federal public defender for 12 years, I represented people from all over Miami-Dade County. I served them. I represented them. When I was a circuit court judge, it was for all of Miami-Dade County. I served all of Miami-Dade County for those 9 years. Appointed to the federal bench in 2015 by President Obama. I would have been serving the entire Southern District of Florida, which goes from Key West all the way up to Fort Pierce. This is, generally speaking, the South Florida area.
Right,
so I think these random lines that divide parts of Miami-Dade County, some of it in 27, the Ileana seat, some of them in 25, is really random.
So let's talk about what are the key issues that you see. What are the most important issues, distinctions that you want to draw between yourself and Mario Diaz-Balart?
Where to begin? Mario's record is atrocious. His voting record, and he is not representing the people in his district.
Can you give me an example? When you say his voting record is atrocious, what specifically are you referring to?
Oh, sure. This district includes, for example, the city of Hialeah. The city of Hialeah is, if not #1, close to #1 in the entire country for Affordable Care Act signups. That man, Mario, has voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act every single opportunity he had.
I think there's something like 75,000 people in his district that had signed up for Obamacare that would have lost it if it had been repealed.
Close to 100,000 is the number that I understand. Okay. So that's an action directly opposed to the interest of his own constituents. Folks all over this country, in South Florida included, not just Democrats, Republicans, and NPAs, are all in favor of, for example, common sense gun safety regulations. Mario has an A rating from the NRA, and he has taken more money from that organization than any other congressman in the entire state of Florida in the last 20 years. That's not in the best interest of the people in his community.
Do you see that as being, because one of the things with the district is it's a trickier district than the other districts. Whereas the Ileana Ros-Lehtinen district is a district that favors Democrats, this one does not necessarily favor Democrats. President Trump won it by, I think, 2 or 3 points.
A point and a half.
It's going to be a close one. So you're going to have to attract some independents and also some moderate Republicans. Do you think the gun issue is a key issue in wooing them over to you?
I think health care is a key issue. I think the gun issue is a key issue. I think the environment, this is an issue. Mario denies science, and the environment and rising seas and the threat that climate change poses to the entire South Florida, including parts of this district that are across Alligator Alley over into Collier County, face is enormous and important, and that's an issue that folks in this
Has he done enough for Dreamers?
Absolutely not. He has done nothing but pay lip service until apparently just recently, coincidentally just a few days after I got into this race against him. Before I got into this race, he was against doing having this called up for vote.
Right now, Paul Ryan is blocking a bill from coming to the floor.
Right.
Mario Diaz-Balart suddenly, after you got in the race, signed on to a measure with 6 other Republicans to try to force it onto the floor. It may not work, but now suddenly he's doing that.
Right, and I'm happy to see him do it, because that's something that's in the best interests of the people in this district. I'm sorry to see that he didn't do it 6 months ago, and I'm hopeful that perhaps now that I'm in the race, who knows, maybe 5 days from now, he'll be in favor of universal health care for everybody in his district.
Let me get your reaction to one of the other things I always thought was interesting about Mario Diaz-Balart was he was actually in the room when President Trump allegedly made the S-hole nations comment, referring to Haitians and African countries, and he never spoke out about it, one way or the other. What did you make of that?
I was appalled by it. The language that the president used was offensive and atrocious, and every single person in that room with the president having heard that should have come out and denounced the language and the president for having used it forcefully. And Mario Diaz-Balart, representing this district that has tens of thousands of people from these so-called, am I allowed to say the word on this show, Jim?
No, you can. Let's not say it. But we know what it was, yes.
It was astounding that he refused to denounce it. So this is a guy who supposedly has Trump's ear. And what has he done for the Dreamers? Nothing, until just recently, Johnny-come-lately. What has he done for the folks with TPS that have just gotten it revoked, the Salvadorans, the Haitians?
Well, he said he was disappointed.
Right, disappointed. It's, I think we deserve more, and I can tell you this, the voters are going to get more with me.
All right, Mary Barzee Flores running for Congress against Mario Diaz-Balart. I'm sure this will be the first of many conversations we have. And by the way, we have offered an invitation to Mario Diaz-Balart to come in. He's come on the show in the past. I think it's been about 3 years or so. Hopefully he will come in the future. Actually, would you actually both come in? Would you sit down next to him and have a discussion?
Absolutely. I look forward to debating him.
All right, we have that. All right, up next, a preview of a true Key West pirate tale that I've been working on when we come back.